What if I told you that being lazy about certain things could actually add years to your life and make you happier than you've been in decades? I'm not talking about neglecting your health or responsibilities. I'm talking about strategic laziness in 8 specific areas that science proves will improve your physical health, mental well-being, and overall life satisfaction. In the next few minutes, I'll reveal these 8 surprising things where being lazy is exactly what your body and mind need to thrive in your golden years. Number 6 is something doctors at Harvard studied for over 20 years, and what they discovered will completely change how you think about comparison and happiness. Every single strategy I share today is backed by medical research and can be implemented immediately without spending a single dollar. Thomas, a 71-year-old from Atlanta, spent decades being the person who said yes to everything and never slowed down. After his doctor warned him about dangerous stress-related health issues, he started being intentionally lazy about certain habits. Within 6 months, his blood pressure dropped to healthy levels. He lost 15 pounds without dieting, and he told his family he felt happier than he had in 30 years. Thing 1. Being lazy about worrying. The less you worry about things you cannot control, the healthier and happier you become. According to the Mayo Clinic, chronic worry and anxiety directly contribute to cardiovascular disease, weakened immune function, digestive problems, and accelerated cognitive decline in older adults. Their research shows that seniors who engage in persistent worry have a 40% higher risk of developing heart disease compared to those who manage stress effectively. The physiological impact is measurable and dangerous. When you worry constantly, your body releases stress hormones like cortisol that damage blood vessels, raise blood pressure, and interfere with sleep quality. Johns Hopkins cardiologists have documented that chronic worry creates the same cardiovascular strain as smoking or obesity, yet most people never connect their anxiety to their physical symptoms. The consequences of unchecked worry extend far beyond your heart. The National Institute on Aging has found that persistent anxiety accelerates memory loss and increases the risk of developing dementia by nearly 60%. Your immune system weakens when stress hormones remain elevated, making you more susceptible to infections and slower to heal from injuries. Sleep disturbances caused by worry create a vicious cycle where exhaustion makes anxiety worse, which further disrupts sleep. Many seniors experience chest pain, headaches, and digestive issues that have no medical cause except chronic stress. The irony is that most worry focuses on events that never happen or situations completely outside your control, meaning you're damaging your health for nothing. Helen from Portland spent years obsessing over her adult children's life choices, losing sleep over decisions she couldn't influence. After her doctor connected her chronic migraines to stress, she consciously stopped worrying about things beyond her control, and her headaches disappeared within 3 weeks. Here's your immediate solution. When worry begins, pause and ask yourself one simple question. Can I control this situation right now? If the answer is no, consciously choose to release it. Practice this redirect every single time anxious thoughts appear. Spend 5 minutes each morning doing slow breathing exercises where you inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4, and exhale for 4. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system and trains your body to respond differently to stress. Write down your worries on paper, then physically throw the paper away as a symbolic release. Replace worry time with activities that engage your hands and mind, like puzzles, gardening, or crafts that make rumination impossible. Start letting go of unnecessary worry today, because your heart and brain depend on it for healthy aging. Thing 2. Being lazy about saying yes to everything. Are you exhausted because you can't say no to anyone who asks for your time or help? Stanford University researchers studying aging and social obligations found that seniors who maintain clear boundaries and selectively commit to activities report significantly higher life satisfaction and better physical health. The American Psychological Association published findings showing that overcommitment leads directly to burnout, resentment, chronic fatigue, and increased risk of falls due to exhaustion. When you say yes to everything, you're not being kind or helpful. You're actually harming your health and reducing the quality of attention you can give to commitments that truly matter. Your energy reserves are finite, especially as you age, and spreading yourself too thin means you do nothing well. The research is clear about consequences. Constantly saying yes creates a state of perpetual stress where your body never fully rests or recovers. This chronic activation of stress responses suppresses immune function, disrupts sleep architecture, and accelerates physical decline. Harvard Medical School's studies on aging show that seniors who overextend themselves have higher rates of anxiety and depression because they lose control over their own schedules and priorities. The exhaustion from too many commitments increases your risk of accidents, both at home and while driving. You become irritable with the people you love most because you have nothing left to give them emotionally. The obligations you agreed to out of guilt or inability to refuse become sources of resentment rather than joy. Frank from Ohio used to accept every social invitation and volunteer request, leaving him perpetually exhausted and dreading his calendar. When he started declining every other invitation and limiting commitments to 3 per week, he suddenly had energy to genuinely enjoy the events he attended and felt present instead of overwhelmed. Your path to freedom starts with one powerful phrase: "Let me check my schedule and get back to you." This simple response buys you time to evaluate whether you truly want to commit or are just responding from habit or guilt. Stop giving immediate answers to requests for your time. Commit to a maximum of 3 scheduled obligations per week, protecting the rest of your time for rest, spontaneity, and activities you genuinely enjoy. Practice saying a simple, guilt-free no without elaborate explanations. You don't owe anyone a detailed justification for protecting your well-being. Remember that saying no to something unimportant means saying yes to your health, energy, and happiness. Give yourself permission to say no, starting immediately, because your limited energy is far too precious to waste. Thing 3. Being lazy about perfectionism. Perfectionism doesn't make things better or earn you more love and respect. It just makes you chronically stressed and miserable. Harvard Medical School has published extensive research linking perfectionism in older adults to depression, anxiety disorders, chronic stress conditions, and significantly higher rates of cardiovascular problems. Their longitudinal studies show that perfectionists experience more health issues, report lower life satisfaction, and have more strained relationships than people who embrace good enough standards. The CDC's research on stress-related illness in seniors confirms that perfectionist tendencies activate the body's stress response constantly, creating inflammation, raising blood pressure, and accelerating aging at the cellular level. Perfectionism is not a virtue or standard of excellence. It's a health risk. The physiological cost of perfectionism is substantial and measurable. When you constantly strive for an impossible standard, your nervous system remains in fight or flight mode, releasing cortisol and adrenaline that damage your body over time. This chronic stress weakens your immune system, disrupts your digestive function, and interferes with restorative sleep that your body desperately needs for repair and recovery. Mental health professionals note that perfectionism in older adults often masks deep insecurity and fear of judgment, creating an exhausting cycle where nothing ever feels good enough. You miss opportunities to connect with loved ones because you're too busy making things perfect. You waste precious time and energy redoing tasks that were already adequate. The pursuit of perfection steals joy from activities that should bring pleasure and satisfaction. Beverly from Texas spent hours perfecting thank you notes her grandchildren wrote, correcting every spelling and rewriting entire cards. When she consciously stopped and let their imperfect notes go as written, she found herself actually enjoying the time with them instead of teaching and correcting. Here's how you break free immediately. Set a timer for every task and stop when it rings, even if the result isn't perfect. Train yourself to recognize when something is good enough and walk away. Adopt this mantra and repeat it daily. Done is better than perfect. Lower your standards intentionally in areas that don't truly matter. Does it really affect your life if the towels aren't folded with perfect corners or if dinner isn't restaurant quality? Focus your limited perfectionist energy only on the few things that genuinely deserve careful attention and let everything else be adequately done. Ask yourself before starting any task, will anyone notice or care if this isn't perfect? If the answer is no, do it quickly and move on. Choose progress and peace over perfection starting right now, because life is too short for unnecessary stress. Thing 4, being lazy. About multitasking, your brain wasn't designed to do multiple things simultaneously, and this truth becomes even more important after age 60. The National Institute on Aging's research on cognitive function demonstrates that multitasking doesn't save time. It actually reduces efficiency by up to 40% and significantly increases error rates in older adults. MIT neuroscientists studying attention and aging found that the brain can only truly focus on one complex task at a time. What we call multitasking is actually rapid switching between tasks, and each switch costs cognitive resources and time. Every time you shift attention from one activity to another, your brain needs several minutes to fully re-engage with the original task. This constant switching creates mental fatigue, increases stress hormones, and impairs your ability to form memories or think clearly. The consequences of chronic multitasking extend well beyond simple inefficiency. Studies published in geriatric medicine journals show that seniors who regularly multitask have higher rates of accidents, including falls, burns, and car crashes, because their divided attention misses critical safety cues. Your ability to process multiple streams of information simultaneously declines naturally with age, making multitasking not just ineffective, but genuinely dangerous. The mental exhaustion from constant task switching contributes to irritability, poor decision-making, and difficulty sleeping, because your brain never fully disengages from the scattered activity pattern. Research indicates that habitual multitasking may accelerate cognitive decline by preventing the deep, focused thinking that keeps your mind sharp. When you try to do everything at once, you end up doing nothing particularly well. Gerald from Michigan always watched television while paying bills, answering emails, and eating lunch simultaneously. When he started focusing on one complete task before moving to the next, he made 0 mistakes on his financial records for the first time in years and actually tasted his food. Your solution is beautifully simple. Do one task from start to finish before beginning another. Turn off the television when having conversations so you can actually listen and connect. Put your phone in another room when working on projects that require attention. Eat meals without reading, watching screens, or doing paperwork so you can enjoy your food and recognize when you're satisfied. If you're walking, just walk. If you're talking to someone, just talk. Give each activity your complete attention for the time you're engaged in it. Create a rule that you finish whatever you start before beginning something new, even if it means saying no to interruptions. Slow down and focus on one thing at a time starting today, because your brain will perform better and you'll actually accomplish more. Thing 5, being lazy. About holding grudges. Is holding on to old anger and resentment worth the documented damage it's doing to your cardiovascular health? Johns Hopkins researchers studying forgiveness and physical health found that people who harbor grudges have measurably higher blood pressure, increased heart attack risk, elevated stress hormones, and faster biological aging compared to those who practice forgiveness or letting go. The Mayo Clinic's extensive research on resentment and health outcomes shows that holding grudges keeps your body in a constant state of stress activation, releasing inflammatory chemicals that damage blood vessels, weaken immune function, and disrupt sleep patterns. Carrying old anger isn't hurting the person who wronged you. It's poisoning your own body and stealing your peace every single day. Forgiveness isn't about excusing bad behavior or reconciling with toxic people. It's about releasing the burden that's destroying your health. The physiological impact of chronic resentment is severe and measurable. When you mentally rehearse old grievances, your body responds as if the hurt is happening right now, flooding your system with stress hormones that raise your heart rate, constrict blood vessels, and trigger inflammation. This repeated activation accelerates cardiovascular disease, contributes to chronic pain conditions, and compromises your immune system's ability to fight illness. Mental health research shows that people holding long-term grudges have significantly higher rates of depression and anxiety because the unresolved anger creates a constant negative emotional state. The energy you spend maintaining resentment is energy unavailable for joy, connection, and activities that could enrich your remaining years. Every moment you spend angry about the past is a moment stolen from your present happiness. Diane from Nevada carried a 20-year grudge against a family member over a betrayal, rehearsing the story and her anger regularly. When she consciously decided to stop dwelling on it, the chronic tension in her shoulders that she'd attributed to arthritis completely disappeared within weeks. Here's your freedom. Write down one grudge you've been carrying on a piece of paper. Read it once, then consciously say out loud, "I'm done carrying this burden." Physically tear up or burn the paper as a symbolic release. When thoughts about old hurts arise, acknowledge them briefly, then deliberately redirect your attention to something present and positive. Stop telling the story of how you were wronged, because each retelling reinforces the neural pathways of resentment. Focus your mental energy on current relationships and experiences instead of past grievances. Understand that forgiveness is a gift you give yourself, not something the other person has to earn or deserve. Forgive for your own health and happiness today, because letting go is the key to moving forward freely. Thing 6. Being lazy. About comparing yourself to others. The comparison game steals your joy and gives absolutely nothing valuable in return. Harvard's famous study of adult development, which followed people for over 80 years, identified social comparison as one of the strongest predictors of unhappiness and poor health outcomes in older adults. The research is unequivocal. People who constantly measure themselves against others report lower life satisfaction, higher rates of depression, and poorer physical health, regardless of their actual circumstances. The American Geriatric Society's research on well-being in seniors confirms that comparison thinking directly undermines the contentment and acceptance that characterize successful, happy aging. When you focus on what others have or achieve, you automatically discount your own unique journey, blessings, and accomplishments. You transform your life into a competition you can never win because there's always someone with more money, better health, or seemingly happier circumstances. The psychological damage from chronic comparison extends into every area of your life. Social media has amplified this problem exponentially, with studies showing that seniors who spend significant time on platforms comparing their lives to others' curated highlights experience increased isolation, depression, and dissatisfaction with their own circumstances. You lose the ability to celebrate your own victories because they seem small compared to someone else's success. Relationships suffer because envy and resentment replace genuine connection and joy for others' good fortune. The mental energy spent on comparison is energy stolen from gratitude, which research proves is the single strongest contributor to happiness in older adults. Harvard researchers found that grateful people sleep better, have stronger immune systems, and report significantly higher well-being than those caught in comparison thinking. Arthur from California constantly compared his modest retirement to his neighbor's luxury lifestyle, feeling inadequate and bitter despite having everything he actually needed. When he stopped comparing and started focusing on his own blessings, he began genuinely enjoying his simple daily walks and felt content for the first time in years. Your liberation is immediate and free. When comparison thoughts arise, catch them quickly and deliberately list 3 specific things you're grateful for about your own life. Make this your automatic response every single time. Limit social media use to 15 minutes daily, or eliminate it entirely if it consistently triggers comparison. Stop asking others what they paid, where they vacation, or what they own, because these questions only feed comparison thinking. Celebrate others' good fortune genuinely, without measuring it against your own situation. Keep a daily gratitude journal where you write 3 unique blessings each evening, training your brain to notice what's right in your life instead of what's missing. Celebrate your own unique journey starting today, because it's the only one that matters for your happiness. Thing 7. Being lazy. About obsessive cleaning and organizing. A perfectly clean house isn't worth sacrificing your health, happiness, and precious remaining time on Earth. The Mayo Clinic's guidance on healthy aging emphasizes energy conservation as a critical strategy for maintaining vitality and independence in later years. Research in geriatric medicine shows that seniors who engage in obsessive cleaning and organizing behaviors often do so at the expense of social connection, rest, and activities that genuinely enhance well-being. The physical demands of constant cleaning cause joint pain, muscle strain, exhaustion, and increased risk of falls from overexertion. The mental burden of maintaining impossible standards creates anxiety and prevents you from relaxing in your own home. Your house should serve you, not enslave you to endless maintenance and perfectionist standards that no one else notices or cares about. The opportunity cost of obsessive cleaning is staggering when you calculate what you're sacrificing. Every hour spent rewashing already clean dishes or reorganizing already tidy closets is an hour you could spend calling friends, pursuing hobbies, resting your body, or creating memories with family. Studies on aging and life satisfaction consistently show that people who prioritize relationships and meaningful activities over housekeeping report much higher happiness in their later years. The perfectionist home maintenance often masks anxiety or need for control, becoming a compulsive behavior that feels necessary but actually diminishes quality of life. Your adult children and grandchildren don't visit hoping for a spotless house. They come wanting your time, attention, and presence, which you can't fully give when you're exhausted from cleaning. Louise from Minnesota vacuumed her entire house daily and couldn't rest if anything was out of place, leaving her perpetually exhausted and isolated. When she limited cleaning to 1 room per day and used that extra hour for phone calls with friends, her mood and energy improved so dramatically that her family noticed immediately. Here's your practical freedom. Clean 1 room or complete 1 cleaning task per day instead of trying to maintain the entire house constantly. Hire cleaning help once or twice monthly for deep tasks if finances allow, or ask family members to contribute. Lower your standards deliberately and decide that a lived-in home is healthier than a museum. Leave dishes in the sink overnight without guilt if you're tired. Let go of the belief that your worth is measured by your home's appearance. Schedule rest time as seriously as you schedule cleaning, making restoration a priority equal to housework. Choose rest and relationships over perfection starting now, because your body needs the break and your soul needs the connection. Thing 8. Being lazy, about staying constantly busy. Rest isn't laziness or weakness. It's essential medicine that your aging body and mind require to function optimally and maintain health. The National Institute on Aging's research on rest and longevity shows that adequate downtime, including deliberate periods of doing nothing, directly correlates with better health outcomes, slower aging, and increased lifespan in older adults. Stanford University's studies on cognitive health demonstrate that brains need regular rest periods to consolidate memories, process information, and maintain mental sharpness. The modern obsession with constant productivity and busyness is particularly harmful for seniors whose bodies need more recovery time between activities. When you refuse to rest, you deplete your energy reserves faster than they can be replenished, creating a deficit that manifests as chronic fatigue, irritability, increased pain, and vulnerability to illness. The consequences of refusing to rest are serious and cumulative. Geriatric medicine research shows that seniors who maintain hectic schedules without adequate rest have higher injury rates because exhaustion impairs balance, coordination, and reaction time. Your body repairs tissue, strengthens immune function, and processes emotions during rest periods, making downtime as important as any active health strategy. Sleep quality suffers when you stay constantly busy because your mind can't downshift effectively, leaving you tired but unable to achieve restorative rest. Cardiovascular health depends on periods of low activity where heart rate and blood pressure can normalize. The inability to be still often masks anxiety or fear of mortality, but staying frantically busy doesn't extend your life. It just ensures you'll be too exhausted to enjoy the time you have. Carl from Arizona felt guilty about afternoon naps and kept himself constantly occupied with projects and obligations. When he gave himself permission to rest daily for 20 minutes without any productive purpose, his evening energy returned, and he felt vitality he hadn't experienced in years. Your prescription is simple and free. Schedule 2 hours weekly of absolutely nothing time where you have no obligations, goals, or productivity requirements. Take 20-minute rest breaks daily, where you sit or lie down without screens, tasks, or stimulation. Embrace boredom without immediately filling it with activity, allowing your mind to wander and restore itself. Nap without guilt when your body signals tiredness, understanding that rest is healthcare, not laziness. Say no to obligations that would fill every available hour, protecting empty space in your calendar as fiercely as you protect scheduled commitments. Give yourself permission to do nothing sometimes without justifying or earning it through prior productivity. Give yourself permission to rest fully starting today, because strategic laziness is the key to sustained vitality and lasting happiness. Being strategically lazy about worry, overcommitment, perfectionism, multitasking, grudges, comparison, obsessive cleaning, and constant busyness isn't weakness or character flaw. It's practical wisdom backed by decades of medical research. These 8 areas of intentional laziness will give you more energy, better physical health, reduced stress, and genuine happiness throughout your remaining years. You've earned the right to slow down, set boundaries, and enjoy life on your own terms without guilt or apology. Start implementing even one of these strategies today, and you'll notice improvements within days. Which of these 8 things do you most need to be lazier about in your own life? Share your thoughts in the comments, because your honest experience might give someone else permission to make a life-changing decision. If this message resonates with you and challenges conventional thinking about aging, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more research-backed wisdom designed specifically for your best years. Share this with other seniors who need to hear that slowing down and being strategically lazy isn't giving up. It's the smartest health decision they can make. You could be giving someone you love the permission and encouragement they need to finally prioritize their own well-being over everyone else's expectations.